these legal services at an open meeting. If, and you're right, I have provided counsel to the board in the past, and so has our office, on what should be in a retainer agreement. The board is free to choose to either accept that advice or ignore it. It's just like any other client. But there isn't anything in this bill that I find to be illegal or anything else, and I don't see any caution in not paying that bill. You do have the opportunity or the choice, if you would like to choose not to pay that bill. I can't tell you what that law firm would do, but I'm assuming since they do that those fees were earned, that they would be entitled or inclined to potentially go after those fees. I can't guarantee that. I don't know if they would or not. But you certainly have that option to choose not to pay it. But I don't think that there's anything that would give me any pause on taxing or paying those bills.
Michael, maybe I misheard. I have a habit of doing that. Did I hear you say before the public hearing that MCIT initially contacted this law firm regarding the safe driving complaint?
That's my understanding. I know that our office has also been in contact with the Iverson law firm before the date that the resolution was passed, because obviously somebody would have to arrange that information, whether it's the retainer or otherwise. But it's my understanding that MCIT was the one who contacted them. I can't say that with 100% certainty.
So is it prudent to contact MCIT? Perhaps Robin Sykes could clear this up. Are they responsible for the $222.48? I mean, the board did not contact MCIT either and say, go ahead and contact a law firm on our behalf. I mean, I don't think it's ethical for MCIT to spend Wabasha County taxpayer dollars when they haven't been instructed to do so.
That can be a board decision if you'd like to contact MCIT.
I think we're losing the gist of why we are here today. You just alluded to maybe MCIT being on the hook for this bill for our taxpayers, yet the reason we have this bill is because you and Commissioner Harms has sued this county.
Mr. Chair, this is a
personal
attack.
fact. There's
and
no
we do not allow
personal attacks. I think we need to.
I don't believe I don't believe it's a personal attack. I believe he's bringing up why the bill was created in the first place. He did not mention.
Why the bill was created, Mr. Chair, is because someone who was too cowardly to fess up to it picked up the phone and called Iverson, Rubers, and Condon outside a board resolution and said, we need help down here because our safe driving class is being challenged in a court of law. And that phone call happened outside of this boardroom where the board, in an open public forum where people could see and hear, discussed this issue. I was never part of a discussion that, gee, should we get a law firm, or who should we get? I mean, that's all part of that. You either delegate, as we did in the past, we delegated that authority to the chairman to go lawyer firm shopping, if you will. That didn't happen here. Someone just arbitrarily, out of their own personal whatever motivation, picked up the phone and called a lawyer, and now these people, and myself included, are expected to pay $222.48 that was not authorized. This is malfeasance behavior.
Michael just explained that it wasn't positive, but it was most likely MCIT that did this,
Well,
not
then we should
us.
table this, Mr. Chair, until that can be confirmed with Robin Sykes. I have her phone number in my thing. Maybe Deb, you want to call her and ask her and have an answer by the end of the meeting?
It's not gonna change my mind what the answer to that is. The fact of the matter is you sit here and you're trying to figure out that you state there's a double standard, and the double standard you are discussing is our legal department gave this board back in 2011 or 12 a legal opinion that you did not like. So you went out and the board at that time hired an attorney to get the opinion they wanted. The difference between that suit and this suit is we're in a lawsuit. That was an opinion, that was information seeking. It had nothing to do with the county board trying to protect the taxpayer, because that's our job, is to prevent liability, not to cause it, like
Right.
as the lawsuit that you've done against our taxpayers.
And how is that, Donnie?
How is that? You brought a lawsuit, that's the liability.
And what damages are being sought in that lawsuit?
$400,000.
$400,000,
Well,
really?
that's what you claim that this class has brought into the taxpayers, which we bought squad cars and guns and all that. So let's say that the lawsuit is successful. Will the state then ask us back for that money? Then who's on the hook? These people right out here. And now, and we're already on the hook because we had to budget money this year for squad cars, which we haven't done regularly in the past. So when you sit here and say there's no damages, that's not truthful.
Let me
That's
clarify-
actually,
Let me clarify why I'm a plaintiff on that lawsuit. When we buy squad cars out of the Safe Driving Fund, those funds have come through a process that is in the courts right now to be determined whether it is legal or not. When I, as a commissioner, and I feel very strongly about this, approve or disapprove the purchase of a squad car using safe driving funds, if a court or a judge renders that that money actually belongs to the state of Minnesota and not Wabasha County, I am embezzling state funds, sir, and I will not be a part of that kind of behavior.
Well, I hate
And
to-
so I need to sleep at night and know that I have done the best by these people that I can. And if that means that I have to go to a judge because I'm getting rinky-dink advice from every Joe Blow that comes through the door, this matter needs to be decided, it needs to be finalized, and it is in process of being now. I have used my personal finances to make this happen. Why have I done that? Not because I'm going to get something out of it. I don't benefit monetarily from this. What I get from this is the satisfaction that knowing Wabasha County is now in compliance with the law. There is no reason why the state auditor and the state attorney general have year after year after year, since 2003, sir, have cited us that we are running an illegal program.
So then could you
I am
explain
not
to
going
me-
to be a part of illegal
just have
behavior,
one
and
question
no
for
one
you.
will answer that question. So therefore,
All right.
I had
Just
no
one.
choice
This is
but to
getting
go
too hot.
forward and to hire an outside counsel so that this
Commissioner
answer could be settled once and for all. And it
Commissioner
will be
Roshan?
settled once and for all, and if we identify
Commissioner Roshan?
that this in fact is embezzlement, then maybe there will be penance to pay. I don't know that. I'm not seeking personal gain from this. I'm spending my own money so that I know at the end of the day, as a commissioner, as an elected official, I did not commit malfeasance. I did my duty to the best of my ability, and I even spent my own resources to ensure that that was done properly.
Chairman, I'd like one question, but if you'd like me not to answer,
We
I
have
will
questions
pass.
on the other end, I would like to go to
Sure.
first,
Yeah,
please.
sorry.
Would this have gotten addressed, Michael? I don't remember the dates, but we did go into closed session. Commissioner Russian and Commissioner Harms left the room. Was it I remember we decided to hire this MCIT firm, Iverson, whatever their name is or whatever. Was that decided then, or what was the dates on that?
I do not have that answer for you at this time. What I'd like to just inform the board is that this is just a bill. I don't want anybody to talk about the merits of any litigation. I'm not going to talk about any pending litigation with the county. This is simply about paying a bill. And as I stated, the board has the discretion on whether or not it wants to pay that or not. This isn't unique. The county board has paid bills in the past that have both gone over what contracted price is in the past. So if the board would like to pay that bill, they certainly can. I don't think it needs as much discussion as it's currently received. Personal opinion.
Commissioner Harris?
You know, and I, I agree with Mr. Klein to the extent that we have the stuff laid out on the table. However, I have had the feeling since, one of the words that was used a couple weeks ago at a meeting was, it's customary to do this. It's not legal, and that was by our legal counsel, and it's customary to engage an outside law firm. It doesn't really pass the smell test of an open meeting to me, and that's honest from my heart. And I think we need to have that open meeting stuff for these financial decisions, especially financial decisions. But there is a very specific law. 3 people get together and discuss business outside of the boardroom, and then come into the boardroom, and it's a done deal. That doesn't pass the smell test in my book.
You're right.
You know?
You're right.
You know, and I think that we need to get this thing on the consent agenda out of the way. So why don't we remove it and just approve the consent agenda and let this thing go where it needs to go. I think we need some answers, you know, more, or some clarification on some answers, more than what we've been given. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Commissioner Wabi?
This is for $222, it has received a lot of airtime. And I don't feel we need to extend it, push it down the road, but referring to your question about open meeting, we had a closed session. You two weren't present, you guys know the reasons why. Was it decided then and there? That's all I'm gonna say.
It wasn't mentioned in the recap.
Mr. Chair. You're right, there was a closed session, but how was it that all these documents came into that closed session already prepared? How did you three know prior to August 27th that, number one, you wanted to hire a lawyer? Number two, which lawyer? And number three, they were already working. How did you three know that before you went into that closed session? Because you had to know that, because the documents were already drafted and drawn up. You know, unless you are all psychics, that's the word. Unless you're all psychics and on the same wavelength, how did you know prior to August 27th that you wanted to hire a lawyer? Which lawyer? What the retainer was going to include? And that you would all support it? And how did the person who picked up the phone that called Iverson know you were all going to support it the day before the meeting? That's a concern. That smells, as Commissioner Harms said, like a violation of open meeting law. I don't know that that happened, but I don't know that it didn't happen. And these people don't know that it didn't happen. And that is why this board, one of the reasons this board is getting a bad rap week after week, is because of this Chicago-style politics that goes on down here in this boardroom. And so, I would like the answer of who picked up the phone, who made that call on August 26th and got the ball rolling with this law firm. And I would also like to know, how is it that a commissioner is signing off on this voucher to have this bill paid? I have never signed a voucher, other than we all sign our own per diem sheets that we should turn in. That's standard practice.
Would you like to know why?
I would.
I would love to explain it to you. I signed it, and the reason I signed it is, you have come back to this board, meeting after meeting after meeting, wondering why we're not addressing this bill, correct? Am I correct? Yes or
I
no?
have raised a concern why it
Every
is
meeting you ask
existing.
why we're not addressing it.
Why it's in existence.
Right.
Yes.
Why we're not addressing it.
Why
So,
it's not, why it's in existence.
instead of you coming to this meeting and addressing it again and asking for it to be finalized, I asked Denise to put the bill back on so that we could have this discussion. She told me the only way it could get there was for me to sign a voucher. I said I would be happy to do it so that we can bring this issue to rest, which is what you've asked for 4 meetings, Deb. I did it for you.
Oh, thank God.
I know, isn't that nice?
And I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Well,
Have
first
we
of all, I'm
ever-
gonna state that it was on the December 3rd meeting, you guys told me to put it on the agenda. And what was told me at that time was to put it on the agenda as a resolution. And there was a resolution written, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but there was a resolution written and it was on the agenda. I was told to remove it from the agenda and put it under the consent. And I said, usually.
Like we pay all other bills.
Correct. I said, I do not have a bill, there is no bill in front of me, I need some paperwork. That's what I told Michael, and it went from there.
That's how I came to this, so that we could bring it to an end.
Denise, who
One
asked
way
for
or
the
the other.
resolution to be removed?
I did,
Okay,
because that's not how we pay bills.
and so.
This shouldn't be any different.
Denise, has a commissioner ever in the
Call the
history,
question.
as you know, ever done this? Has a commissioner ever signed a voucher, other than our per diems, to pay a bill?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay?
I'm,
So if-
unless they went to the county administrator and had the administrator sign a bill.
You act like this is taboo. is how this is.
This is
It's
malfeasance.
brought to the board.
And so.
The board's gonna make the decision. I didn't make that decision to
Are
pay
you
this.
comfortable, Denise, as the auditor, treasurer, elected official of Wabasha County, are you comfortable paying this bill?
Gee, thanks, Deb.
I know, Denise, I know,
Thanks.
but we gotta, you know, it's time the rubber meet the road. I'm sorry.
County attorney?
Fortunately, officials all the time when we offer advice and the county board chooses not to follow that, it's ultimately always gonna be a board decision on how something is handled. If the board doesn't want it to be handled that way, they can vote it another way. Denise is going to, I'm sure, follow whatever direction is given by the county board. It's the same thing that every county, whether it's a department head or other elected official or our office, we follow the direction of the county board. So Denise, I don't think that's a situation that you should be put in to have to answer at this time.
Okay, Michael, if we adjourn today and I go call a lawyer, because I want them to start working on behalf of the board, and then I'll do this, is that okay?
The board can choose whether or not to pay bills or not, and that's something that we've already discussed on this. The board could choose not to pay that $200 bill. Just like
I
the
don't
board
think
could
my
have made the
question was
choice of
answered.
having
Is
to
it
pay the
okay for me
$4,000 to Mr.
to
Cardinal that he
contact
spent
an
over the
attorney
board resolution
and then
that the
bring the
board
invoice
approved after
in?
that.
Excuse me, one at a time, please. And Michael was talking, please.
Well, before I was talking and he did that to me and you didn't call that out, so I didn't know when the rules are applicable and when they're not. So is that okay, Michael? I can go ahead and call a lawyer and I can turn in that invoice just like Mr. Springer did here for Denise?
I think anybody can turn in any bill that they would like to if they would want, but I'm assuming that the board would choose whether or not to pay it.
Let me
As
give
a
you
private
an-
citizen, you can contact anybody you would
Mr.
like.
Chair, there's a clicking sound going on, either have them stop or get out of the room. There's a nervous twitch.
Possibly my ears, I can't even hear it with what's going on up here.
It's very irritating.
So, I got one comment then. You did do that, Deb, exactly as you just asked. You brought a bill to this board for your legal attorneys that you paid without authorization from this board, if I remember correct, and this board chose not to pay it. Do you remember that?
For my
That's the
recall?
Yeah.
For my recall?
Yeah, this board didn't authorize you to
Right.
go out and hire an attorney, but
Right.
you did,
Right.
and then you turned the bill in and asked for this board to pay
Right,
it.
and the
So
board-
this is a double standard, this is the
Oh,
double
my
standard you
goodness.
keep talking,
No,
why
no,
is
no,
this
no, no.
different, Deb?
That's completely
Call the
different, because this is,
We have a motion
Okay.
and a second.
pay it.
Just to rephrase the motion, I would like you to remove E in the minutes, so I could re-clarify
Yes.
under unfinished business.
Sure. Olive
Yeah.
branch.
Removing E, I'd like to, I've been asked to re-clarify the minutes, so I will.
I will caution the commissioners, I believe you are treading in the waters of malfeasance, and I believe that this will not be the end of this $222 if you go ahead and approve this.
You told us you'd sue us again, here we go, I'm okay with it.
Excuse
You
me?
did, I said. here's
All in
the-
favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Roll call, Commissioner Springer,
Aye.
Mr. Roshan,
Nay.
all is aye, Lobby, Arms. We need a 10-minute break right now.
You smart people at a coffee. That's almost empty. I need some more. Water. Oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, I was afraid to
John?
How are you doing?